To start 2025, I placed Pinterest stock on my list of top 9 stocks to buy for the year. In this video, I wanted to revisit Pinterest, do another analysis, and update that recommendation and let you know if I still think the stock deserves a spot on my list of top 9 stocks to buy right now. I'll look at Pinterest revenue growth over a trailing 12-month period going back as many years as I have data on for Pinterest, looking at the company's cash flow from operations to sales ratio, looking at the returns on invested capital. I'll also revisit the company's monthly active user growth and average revenue per user, as well as the expectations that management forecasted for the upcoming quarter. Finally, I'll look at my valuation models, my proprietary discounted cash flow valuation for Pinterest, and compare it to the current market price to determine if it's still undervalued, and also look at the forward price to earnings ratio as another perspective on valuation. So I'll do all that in this brief video, so let's get into it.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.
So looking at Pinterest's revenue growth on a trailing 12-month period, I've seen very nice growth in this company over the last 5 or 6 years. The trailing 12-month revenue total of $3.65 billion is almost 4 times where it was in 2019, a 4x growth in revenue in a relatively short amount of time. What's more, the company has a very long runway to continue expanding these revenues. The total addressable market for advertising, or in other words, the total amount of dollars spent worldwide on advertising, will approach $1 trillion this year and maybe even surpass $1 trillion. So you look at Pinterest's revenue of $3.6 billion compared to a $1 trillion market opportunity, you can see it's got a long way to grow if it continues to execute. The opportunity is there. So it's not going to hit a ceiling because it's saturated the market with its market share. That's not going to be the case for Pinterest for a very long time. One of the main drivers of Pinterest's revenue growth will be the monthly active user total. The more people that are on Pinterest platform, the more opportunity Pinterest has to show advertisements and generate revenue. In that regard, Pinterest reported globally 553 million active users. That was up 11% from the fourth quarter of 2023. So in 1 year, the company added roughly 55 million monthly active users. But more impressively, it added 4 million users from the United States and Canada. That was a total of 103 million, up from 99 million in the same time last year. The reason that's important is because the average revenue per user from people in the United States and Canada is much higher than in other parts of the world. More specifically, the average revenue per user from the United States and Canada, as the company most recently told investors, was $8.19 from the US and Canada. But if you compare that with the average revenue per user from users in Europe, it was only $1.12. And then outside of Europe and the United States and Canada, what the company calls the rest of the world, the average revenue per user was only 19 cents. And that just magnifies how important it is to grow users from the United States and Canada. Marketers are willing to pay more dollars to get the attention of people from the United States and Canada because they have more purchasing power. And so that's why I've really liked Pinterest in recent quarters. One of the main reasons why I've added it to my list of top 9 stocks to buy is the impressive user growth from the very important region of the United States and Canada. Its cash flow from operations to sales number is very solid at 26.5%, and it's improved hugely in the last 5 or 6 years, up from negative 10% in 2019 to 26% right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if this metric continues moving higher because its business doesn't require a large amount of capital. It's also one of the reasons why I've liked the entire social media segment. The companies in this space, including Meta platforms, Snap, Pinterest, and Reddit, I've liked all of these stocks because it's an asset-light business model. User engagement creates more user engagement. It's a positive virtuous cycle. It benefits from network effects, and that creates an opportunity for Pinterest to expand revenue very lucratively, very profitably. And so it's already demonstrating that level of expansion, and the management team is forecasting in the upcoming quarter revenue growth of 14% and adjusted EBITDA, which is a close proxy of cash flow from operations, in the range of 155 to 170 million for the upcoming quarter. So management expects good times to continue ahead. Similarly, when I look at its returns on investor capital, it's a very robust 54.5%. That's up from negative 100% in 2020. Again, the company benefiting from economies in scale as it establishes network effects, user engagement increases, more users create more users, and therefore creates a more profitable business. Growth is the key driver. As I highlighted, monthly active user growth is one of the critical metrics to look at when you're evaluating social media companies like Pinterest, and they've delivered exceptionally well in those metrics in the last year. So when I look at my intrinsic value calculation for Pinterest stock, my intrinsic value per share is $70. That's more than double the current market price of $32.60. So that leaves a large margin of safety here, even if some of my assumptions or estimates are too high. Even if I lowered some of those estimates unfavorably to Pinterest, it still leaves an undervalued business at current market prices. Furthermore, when I look at Pinterest on a forward price to earnings basis at just 14.5, it looks extremely undervalued at these prices. So I will reiterate my recommendation. I already had Pinterest stock rated as one of my top 9 stocks to buy here in 2025. I'll reiterate that recommendation here today, March 21st, and remind everyone that I still like this stock as one of my favorites right now in 2025. Hey everyone, I'm excited to announce that my book is finally available for sale. I've been working on it for more than a year now, so I'm really excited to finally share this with you now. It goes through my framework for evaluating stocks. Some of you often ask why I like this stock or why I like the other stock, and this framework provides you the things that I look at when I'm evaluating stocks. I've added the link in the description below.